And Fox Sports is proud to partner with the Mission Continues, a nonprofit organization deploying military veterans and community leaders to build stronger communities across the nation by improving schools, revitalizing parks, and fostering neighborhood identity. Visit www.missioncontinues.org to learn more. And once again, thank you to everyone in our audience this morning. Time for us to go viral. Check out Christian Lewis. Christian Lewis is a 6'3", 363-pound, sixth grade running back. The 11-year-old defenders don't stand a single chance.
Hold on a second. Man.
Take that in, Nick.
Nah, man.
Just
There's something about
way.
that's not right. That's not right.
That ain't right. And this is, I mean, you know what a lot of those sixth graders on the opposing team aren't going to be? Seventh grade football players, because they're going to be, I'm out. Oh, yeah. I'm done. This sport ain't for me.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Nah, man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come on. You know what, Kenny?
What do you
Hold on.
What do you mean?
Hold on a second. Listen, I ain't a 6'8" freak of nature like you, superstar athlete, multiple sports, but I'm not going to sit here and let you defame my mediocre, if not try-hard athletic career. You earlier said I got dunked on all the time. False.
False. Okay.
False. Absolutely false. Second, now you're saying I quit football. I never played football, mind you, sir, so I couldn't have quit football.
Because you knew that would happen.
Hell yeah, because there's a bunch of y'all out there. I ain't dealing with, oh, man. 6'3", sixth grader. Check the birth certificate, folks. Give me a break.
Time for stories to start your morning. Last night, the Raiders beat the Chargers 26-24. They improved to 5-4 in the season. They're now just a half game back in the wild card race. Kenny, how big of a win was this for the Raiders?
That was a huge win for the Raiders. Last night was a swing game for them, trying to get position for one of those wild card spots in the AFC. If you look at the rest of their schedule, only one team with a winning record in their last 7 games. That's huge for the Raiders last night, winning an AFC West matchup.
With the Vikings coming to town.
Well, Amari was huge. You go back to last year when they traded for him. I mean, you saw the difference in Dak Prescott. And guess what? Amari Cooper showed up against the Giants last week with a touchdown to ice that football game on Monday night.
Fully healthier when he hasn't been out there, when he's been compromised. This is a key designation that even though he didn't practice yesterday, they do expect him to play in this weekend's game. He's as important as anybody out there on Sunday. Key for the Cowboys that he is going to be out there.
All right, the 7-2 Green Bay Packers taking on the 5-3 Panthers Sunday. Aaron Rodgers has been an MVP candidate, but on the other side, so is Christian McCaffrey. Nick, which of these two are having the more impressive season, Rodgers or McCaffrey?
This is a bit of a Beyonce-Rihanna question at the moment, which is it might be a matter of taste. But I'm going to give the nod to Aaron Rodgers because people were ready to pounce on Rodgers if this year didn't go well, if he didn't play well. Folks wanted he and Matt LaFleur to not get along, even though it seemed like they got along great. That is taking nothing away from McCaffrey, who's, if he continues his first half pace in the second half, it's an all-time statistical season for a running back.
Yeah, I don't know if Christian McCaffrey can do that. What, he's got over 1,200 yards from scrimmage and 13 touchdowns?
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable what he's doing, but what he's meant to that team, think about it, coming into this season, they're thinking that Cam Newton is going to be their quarterback, he's going to be healthy, and he's got this new throwing motion that he wants to unveil. but then that's over with after week 2 when they lose to Tampa Bay at home. But this team has righted themselves, and the way that they've done it is by leaning on CMC. So you got to give credit where credit is due. Backup quarterback has a 5-1 record, but I think a big part of that has to do with the way that McCaffrey's played.
He's been spectacular.
All right, switch gears a little. Talk some NBA. Last night, Kawhi Leonard actually played basketball, Nick.
Yep.
That after he missed Wednesday's game against the Bucks because of
load management.
After the game, Kawhi said he was, quote, shocked that the NBA revealed the nature of his injury. The NBA also fined the Clippers $50,000 for Doc Rivers' comments that were inconsistent with Kawhi Leonard's health. Nick, I ask you, what's your reaction to the latest here with Kawhi?
Kawhi was great last night, particularly in the fourth quarter. More on that in a moment, but you used a very important word there. Inconsistent. And that is what I would call the Clippers, Doc Rivers, and even Kawhi Leonard on this very specific issue. Doc Rivers said Kawhi is totally healthy and said he feels great, and the reason he feels great is because of what we've been doing. Kawhi Leonard, coming into the year, said feels so much better than he did at this point last season when he was coming off the injury controversy with the Spurs, and said load management would be different this year. That has not been the case. Their messaging has been one thing, their actions have been another. Kawhi Leonard is, I think, most upset about is that the NBA was revealing his private medical information, but they're not even using Kawhi Leonard in the games that he plays in a way I've ever seen a superstar use.
How do you mean?
But, well, his minutes through 3 quarters every game are... yesterday he played 4 minutes in the third quarter. Yesterday he played going into the fourth quarter of the game. He had played 21 minutes of his team's 36. That is not a typical rotation minutes for the superstar on your team, especially a superstar in year 8 or in year 9, pardon me, at 28 years old. But what it is resulting in is in every game, Kawhi Leonard is the first player on the court in the fourth quarter. He's averaging 13.5 points per game in the fourth quarter.
18 last night.
No, he was great last night. He's had at least 15 fourth quarter points in 3 straight games. Because of the way they're using him, it is got to be frustrating as a Clippers fan wondering, is it true he couldn't do this if he had played the night before? No one will know. I just know this. We've never seen a guy his age, his level of stature in the league be on this type of system. Maybe it will work out.
With that formula. So I think that the Clippers and Doc Rivers wanted to adopt that. What I find strange about the situation is that Kawhi is so vocal about not having the health concerns that the organization and that the medical staff and the head coach do. When Kawhi comes out and says, no, I'm healthy, this is the best I've ever felt, while the organization is saying we're managing a condition that he's dealing with within his knee, to me, that inconsistency is something that you try to avoid. Most functional organizations don't have those types of things pop up. And then when the NBA is chiming in on it and saying, yeah, we've been in consultation with the Clippers medical staff, from the NBA's perspective, they're trying to protect their relationship with their business partners, which is a television company. So you can understand why they would want the narrative out there about Kawhi managing a significant injury. But I don't understand from Kawhi's standpoint what there is to be gained by coming out and contradicting your head coach and the organization. This is an organization that you decided to come to in free agency. You're the one that forced them to trade Danilo Gallinari and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a boatload of picks to the Oklahoma City Thunder to get you a running mate in Paul George. This is the situation that you asked for. And so early in the season, when they're trying to do you a solid because you don't want to play in more than 60 to 65 games in the regular season, why would you come out and put them in a tough spot with the league office and put the league in a tough spot with their television partners? Well,
and one other note that because I understand there's going to be a lot of folks who use last night as vindication of the plan, which is, look, didn't play the night before. He's sensational in the fourth quarter. They're down 6 going into the fourth quarter. They end up winning by 6, and all that is fair to a degree. But Kawhi Leonard is going to, I believe, by some, start to assume the mantle of, well, this is obviously the most clutch player in the league. Look at what he's doing in the fourth. There's an element of that is going, if this is the plan, that is going to be fairly graded on a curve. Like every year, Steph Curry is not the highest three-point percentage in basketball, but we all know he's the best three-point shooter in basketball. Sometimes Joe Harris or Joe Ingles, somebody will lead the league in three-point percentage, but we say, well, none of those are pull-up threes. Those are, they're shooting when they're open. And Steph, he's shooting in the flow of the offense, not in the flow of the offense. He's shooting in tough situations, on tough situations. So we understand, even if his numbers don't say it, he's the best shooter in the league. Well, if you've got only one superstar in basketball that gets to be the freshest player when he does play, only one superstar in basketball that is going to play less minutes than anyone else the first three quarters, that has to be baked into the math of what he does in the fourth quarter. And so right now for the Clippers, it is working. They are 5-1 with him. It's working when he's playing. I'm very curious to watch how this evolves throughout the season, and I'm curious to watch how their seeding is affected by the 20-some games he might plan to miss this year, and if that's going to be a little different than how it affected the Raptors last year out east.
What will also be interesting is how much pressure the organization puts on him if the NBA comes down on them and saying, listen, this has got to stop in terms of how you're trying to manage Kawhi Leonard in the games that he's playing. I think that's something that's going to be a strained dynamic throughout the course of the year.
I had no idea you had such an issue with load management. I mean, when I met you, I didn't know. Like,
well, I got this weird
Clearly
theory.
he's passionate about it.
I've got this weird theory about pro athletes in the prime of their career. They should play. It's one of my more controversial takes.
Insane corner. Insane take. On to Patrick Mahomes now. The will he or won't he play, speaking of playing conversation, getting louder as the Chiefs prepare for the Titans. He actually wants to play. Mahomes was again a full participant in practice yesterday, is expected to take the field for the first time in 24 days on Sunday, although nothing official has been announced. Nick, you expect MVP-level Mahomes if he does indeed take the field?
Chris Caney, have we ever seen Patrick Mahomes play in the NFL and not look like MVP-level Patrick Mahomes?
No.
No. So, yeah, that's exactly what I expect. By the way, good news on the Chiefs injury report. Patrick Mahomes not related. Their left tackle, Eric Fisher, who had the core muscle injury and had surgery, he actually practiced yesterday. Now, I don't know if that means he's going to play this Sunday, but it means he should be back soon.
So let me ask it a different way. You think the reins are coming off? That when they put if Patrick Mahomes plays Sunday, he is vintage Patrick Mahomes, go out there and play the game the way you want to play it?
Absolutely. Now, I think that it is Andy Reid's job to, especially early in the game, put him in fewer positions where he's likely to have to run around, where he's likely to have to escape pressure. That means quicker throws.
Yes.
That means more things that will protect him by play design. But once the game gets going, if he does see a pass rusher, he's running. If he sees the opportunity to roll out of the pocket and make a big play to Tyreek Hill down the field, he's doing it. And I actually think you might see a better version of him than you were seeing the few weeks before the knee injury, because the ankle is going to have limited his mobility more than the knee issue will. The knee, he's moving fine. The worry about the knee is not if it'll limit him, it's if he'll re-injure it. The ankle was actually limiting his mobility. So, no, I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to come out, and I think by the time the Chiefs hit the bye in a couple weeks, when we're talking about the league MVP discussion, one of the narratives will be, well, Mahomes only missed 2 games. Could he get himself back into it in the final third of the season? So, yeah, I don't think you're going to see a limited, lesser version of the best player in the NFL.
Yeah, Jenna, I think that Andy Reid has to unleash Pat Mahomes if he's going to let him play. You have to go out there and let him read and react the way that he's accustomed to. You can't tell an athlete to go out there and say, hey, make sure you're careful out there because you have
a dislocation. He's their franchise.
No, I understand that, Jenna, but that's why I think that they should another week or two. I would prefer that he would come back after the bye week.
That'd be
It's a dislocated knee. They said that the timeline was going to be 3 to 6 weeks. I would have erred on the side of the latter time as opposed to the 3 weeks, which is now the first.